First impressions from Florida State spring practice.
You are Locked On Seminoles, your daily podcast on the Florida State Seminoles, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome back into Locked On Seminoles. I am your host, Brian Smith. Today's show, we're going to feature one simple thing, impressions on Florida State spring practice, talk a little bit about some of the videos that are out there and some of the things that Norvell said, just to give an overview. This is just opinion-based. There is no major take because it's the first day of practice. Personally, I think the second week is the most important, and we'll get to that here in just a second. Today's show is brought to you by LinkedIn College. When you're hiring for a small business, you want the quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help you find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to give my thoughts on what I've been able to see, a little bit of what I've heard, and one, I guess, surprise take from me as well, because I don't normally do this, but I'll have something at the end. It's only going to be like a 5 to 10 minute video, but this is straightforward. Number one, there was a lot of conversation about quarterbacks, myself included, for this year. Tony Tokarz has the quarterback position in a good spot long-term. You got a fifth-year senior in DJ. You got Brock, and you've got Luke, sophomore and freshman. You should be pretty good there, right? And they got other guys there too that, I don't think there's any doubt they have the ability to make something happen, if you will, if DJ goes down. One of those two could at least get you through a couple games. Now, you don't want necessarily the whole season, but they're in a better spot than people think. Just watching their footwork and how calm they were, I don't know if it's because Tokarz is an easy guy to play for, but I was like, okay. For first day, I didn't see a whole bunch of really weird motions or anything awkward. Everybody looked really comfortable, almost like it was the middle of fall camp and they'd been through about 10 days, which was a good sign. Watching the guys just do drills and stuff, there's only so much you can take, but throwing the football, there's no hiding. Like either you can spin it or you can't. Florida State's a pretty good spot there. I was encouraged. Watching the roster overall, the defensive line and some of the guys that are edge rushers, there's more speed than I had thought, which is good. Obviously, transfers help, but I'm not going to get into the names at any spot other than quarterback, by the way. I'm going to stay away from that completely. It's day one. Until pads come on, other than quarterback, I do not care about names. That's just who I am, and anybody I cover, I look at it from a very broad-based perspective. D-line kind of stood out, and I liked how long some of the DBs were, which not surprising. I expected that anyway. The other part of this that's interesting, just looking at body type. This is something that a lot of my friends covering SEC, and I've worked in the SEC stuff too. It is different, especially a D tackle. And again, can't see it until I see them pat and hit each other. And I don't know how much the Florida State coaching staff is going to allow there anyway. And if that's the case, I'll just say I don't know. I will not lie. But Florida State, the body type is staying very big. They've got a lot of experienced guys because of the transfers. This is not a team that's going to get run over on either side. And if they do get, it's on the players. It's not on the coaches. Let me repeat that. Not on the coaches, because everybody wants to blame coaches because it's easier to get rid of them than it is players. It's not how it works. They have enough talent if they can work together here, because this is a good coaching staff, to be a little better than what I thought, just looking at them on the hoof. That's the other phrase that's commonly used. I don't think Florida State, we're going to know a whole lot, like I said, until in the second week. You hear a little bit about the first scrimmage, etc. But I was pleased with some of those things. The last point I want to make, and this is probably not really shocking, Florida State may not have the same speed like the 99 team did. You know, that team was special and they won a national title. But this team just has a lot of quickness. I don't know how many of the guys are going to be impact. I don't know how well they're going to play football. But when you've got more to work with, what happens? You play better. Florida State is like anybody else in one major thing. You have to be able to run the football, especially on defense. You have to be able to run to the football or create separation to get away from a defender. You could just never have enough speed. Just regardless of position, this is an athletic football team. It's just a little bit of video I watched and talking to a few people and just kind of reading some things. But this is a good start. I'm not going to do as much, shall we say, in-depth analysis. Like the sites that cover this daily need multiple articles. It's hard covering a team the first week of spring ball because there's just nothing to really talk about because they're not hitting. I'm glad I don't have to cover Florida State from that perspective. I can just be honest like this. Next week, hopefully, depending on what Mike and his staff allow, there'll be more of that to talk about. But right now, the size is a little better than I expected. I was happy about D-line. Quarterback looked comfortable. And they've got size in general. He had a lot of spots. So this is a little better roster than what I may have thought originally. Now the question is, how much does it gel? That's what spring ball is all about anyway. So we'll find out more. Tomorrow I'm going to discuss so much of the calamity, if you will, with all these lawsuits. Probably going to talk to a couple of different people, have them on and discuss it. But like this stuff it's gotten to the point where I've gotten so many people that have texted me rumors about things I have no freaking idea. And they're asking me about stuff that involves lawyers. I'm not a lawyer. So that's why I don't bring it much into this show. But we're to the point where every show I go on, there's something in some way, shape, or form that is impacted by these lawsuits. Clemson, Florida State, allegedly North Carolina or Miami could. The list is endless. I mean, somebody mentioned me, Georgia Tech. I highly doubt Georgia Tech is highly sought after by the Big Ten or the SEC. Prove me wrong, but I highly doubt that. So we're going to be talking a little bit about that and hopefully a little more spring ball news coming up pretty soon. But thank you very much. Y'all have a great night. Take care.